is Shireesha from Master of Business Administration, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about break-even analysis and how we need to determine the break-even point and what are the managerial significance of break-even analysis. So, coming to break-even analysis. So, what is this break-even analysis? So, break-even analysis means where the total costs are equal to total revenue. At that particular point, we get break-even point. Okay. So, where for any of the product or service, we are going to have the total cost is equal to total revenue, then we call it as a break-even point. So here, with the help of graph, we can understand in a better way where in the previous session, we have discussed about what is fixed cost, what is variable cost, and what is semi-variable cost and marginal cost in the previous session. So here in this break-even analysis, we are going to take only few of the costs, that is only two types, that is fixed cost and variable cost. Now, what is the total fixed cost? What is the total variable cost? And it gives the total cost of the product or service. So here we have to take the cost on y-axis and quantity on x-axis. So what is the total fixed cost? This is the total fixed cost. We can see this, right? It is the total fixed cost. And what is the total variable cost? So this is the variable cost. And this is the variable cost. So from this particular point to this particular point, this region, we can consider it to be variable cost. Okay. So this is the fixed cost. So what is the total cost now? Total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. Okay. So this is the total cost. So coming to total revenue. So here we got the this is the total cost curve. Now what is the total revenue curve? Total revenue curve is, so as we go on increasing our expenditure, okay, the output, the quantity is going to be produced. So once we produce the quantity, we are going to sell, right? So as we produce more and sell more, we get what? Revenue. We get revenue. So this is the point of where we are going to get the total revenue. So this is the total revenue portion. Okay, out of our sales, we are going to get the total revenue, right? So at the point of intersection of total cost and the total revenue, this is the point where we say it as break-even point. We call it as break-even point. So till this particular point, our product is incurring losses. Beyond this particular point, break-even point, product or service is going to have profit. This is the profit zone. So this is the loss zone. This is the profit zone. Okay. So coming to break-even point. Break-even point is a point where we'll have no profit and no loss. This point is no profit, no loss. And where the total revenue is equal to total cost is the break-even point. So break-even point means what? We have to remember 2 points. One is we'll not have any profit and will not have any loss. And the other one is when the total revenue is equal to total cost, then we get break-even point, right? So now let's move on with the terminologies which are associated with break-even analysis. So coming to this terminology, first we need to put a marginal cost sheet for ascertaining the this for ascertaining what is the break-even point using different formulas. So here the cost sheet is going to be associated with only two types of cost, that is variable cost and fixed cost. Okay. So now coming to the particulars, first we have sales. What are the sales we need to write down? And sales minus variable cost. Sales minus variable cost is the contribution, and contribution minus fixed cost is the profit which we are going to get. Okay, this is the cost sheet. Now we have to find out what is the profit. So to find out profit, what we need to do? Contribution minus fixed cost is profit, right? So the first one is done. Now what is the total contribution in another sense? That is, so what is the total contribution? Means total sales. Total sales minus total variable cost gives us the total contribution. So done with this. And now what is the break-even point? So coming to break-even point formula is fixed cost by contribution per unit. Fixed cost, this fixed cost divided by contribution gives us the break-even point. Okay. And now contribution per unit. Okay. So here contribution per unit we can ascertain, and contribution in value also we can ascertain. So if we want to find out what is the contribution per unit, what we need to do is we need to take selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Okay. So these are the terminologies or formulas which we have in this break-even analysis. Now let's understand what are the uses of this break-even analysis, where we are going to use this break-even analysis. One, when we want to start a new business. When we want to start a new business, then like we need to know what is the we need to know what is the break-even point, right? Because we need to have an idea of our production, to what extent one must produce the goods, right? So what is the productivity of the new business? All these can be known by knowing break-even point. And the next one is manufacturing new products. When a manufacturer wants to produce a new product, then also he need to know what is the existing if an existing company is going with a new product, then he need to focus on the break-even analysis before he starts the new product which is going to manufacture in the company, right? Because he need to know what is the total revenue he is going to get and what is the total cost associated with that, so that he can determine what are the outputs, what is the output he can produce to at least to meet the break-even point. Okay, so for that also this break-even analysis is useful. And next one is to change the business model. So from one model to another model, if it wants to shift, if it is shifting, what is the total cost incurred? What is the total revenue incurred? So where is the how many of outputs of break-even outputs will give us the at least no profit, no loss zone. So here also we require break-even analysis. So coming to the importance of break-even analysis, why this is important? Because it gives a manager a better decision making. So here some make or buy decisions can be taken, whether the product, for example, if we take a product, so for a product we always require raw material, right? So raw material can be manufactured in the same unit, or it can be bought from some other unit, right? So here this make or buy decisions will be easy with the help of this break-even analysis. And it also helps to design the pricing strategy, because here the cost, it is a relationship between the cost and the total cost and the total revenue, right? So if the cost is very low, so are they going to meet the total revenue at what point, how many goods they require to produce to meet the total cost is equal to total revenue point. So it is helpful to ascertain like what is the price of the good, right? And next one is it manages what is the size of the units to be sold. So here, how many number of units to be sold to meet the break-even analysis is going to determine how many number of break-even analysis is going to determine how many number of units to be sold to meet the break-even point, right? So that's the reason it is important. And for for setting targets, for budgeting the cost, also this break-even analysis is useful. And to manage the margin of safety. So as we have seen a graph in the previous slide, like this is the total revenue. So this is the total cost curve, and for example, this is the total revenue curve. Okay, so this is the loss, this is loss, and this is profit. This is profit, right? So this is the BEP point. This is the BEP point, right? So after break-even point, that is after no profit, no loss. So whatever this part, we call it as margin of safety. Okay, or we can also say that margin of safety means actual sales which are incurred minus BEP sales, minus break-even sales is called as margin of safety. So this margin of safety can also be managed with the help of a break-even point. And the next one is it is also important in case of monitoring and controlling costs. Now let's understand what are the assumptions of break-even point. So now the very first assumption is all the costs are divided into fixed cost and variable cost, and all the total fixed cost remains unchanged with the level of output, because here we are producing one number of unit, or we produce 1 lakh units or 10 lakh units, but fixed cost is same. Okay, so we cannot change the fixed cost. And next one is our total variable cost is going to fluctuate based on the level of output, which is going to result within no change in the per unit variable cost, because per unit variable cost is not going to change. Okay, so coming to the next one, sales price per unit remains same with the level of output. That means generally when we visit a shop, what we see is we require one product. Okay, we require one product. The price of the product is 10 rupees. We require 100 products. Then do you agree to buy the 100 products for 10 rupees? No. At least you ask them to get some discount on that, right? At least 9 rupees, 9.5 price, right? So here when we go with bulk orders, or when we go with bulk purchases, we generally see we want to get the discounted price. But in break-even analysis, we go with only one price. There will not be any change in the price. Though it is one good or 1 lakh goods, we are going to fix the selling price. The selling price remains constant. That is also one of the assumptions. And next one is cost and revenues are going to behave in a linear fashion, and no other factor other than sales can affect the cost and sales revenue. And it also goes with the business production. Only one product can be used for only one product. On only one product, this break-even analysis is going to be useful. Okay, and the next one is different production technologies, production methods, and efficiency remains constant. And the last one, like there will not be any inventories. So all the stocks, whatever associated to manufacture the product, will be completely done. Like there will not be any closing stock. Like what like sometimes, like today, we started manufacturing. Okay, when we start manufacturing, we require some 100 units of raw material. Okay, so 100 units of raw material is used at the end of the day. That means what? 100 units of finished products we got it by end of the day. That is what it says. So it is one more assumption that all the material is going to be there will not be any stock left over in the manufacturing unit. So all there will not be any closing stock. So these are the assumptions of break even point. And let's move with the limitations of the break even point, break even analysis. So first one is, it always assumes that selling price are constant with all level of outputs, right? So as I was telling, like there will not be any discount. There will not be any discount on bulk orders. You buy one product, or you buy 1 lakh or 10 lakh products, the price is fixed. The price is fixed. So due to this, sometimes customers may not like to buy the bulk orders. So their sales revenue is not that much effective. And coming to next one, so it assumes for the production and sales are the same. Okay. And next one is, all the break-even charts may be time consuming to prepare. To prepare the break-even charts, it takes a little time. So maybe it is also time consuming before we adopt this break-even analysis for any of the decisions to be taken in setting up new or establishing a new business. And this is only useful for a single product mix. Okay, this is not used for multiple products. For example, Hindustan Unilever Limited. So that is has different number of products which is producing. So for such kind of products, this break-even analysis cannot be applied. So these are the limitations. Now let's understand how we are going to determine the break-even point. So here the break-even point is the level of output or the sales at which no profit, no loss is achieved. So as I discussed, so it indicates at which marginal profit or the contribution is just sufficient to cover the fixed overheads. So the for the physical units, what is the formula for break-even point? That is, break-even point equal to fixed cost divided with selling price minus variable cost per unit. Okay. So what is the break-even point? Break-even point is equal to fixed cost by selling price minus variable cost. Okay. So that is break-even point in terms of physical units. If we wanted to know how many number of units to be produced to meet the break-even point. Okay. And now coming to the second one. So break-even point in terms of sales value. Sales value means in terms of value we are going to get. So break-even point is equal to fixed cost by contribution ratio. So already we discussed what is contribution ratio. That is sales minus variable cost is the contribution ratio. So what is break-even point formula in case of sales value? So in case of rupees, it is value means we are going to know in terms of rupees, in terms of units. Okay. So in terms of units means fixed cost by selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. And if we want to ascertain what is the break-even point in value, that is in rupees, is fixed cost by contribution ratio. That is fixed cost by sales value minus variable cost value. And now margin of safety. Margin of safety means the total actual sales which are made and minus the break-even sales will give us margin of safety. So this is how we are going to find out break-even point. And coming to managerial significance of break-even analysis, like we are going to maintain safety margins, that is sales minus BEP by sales into 100. We can find out what is the target profit, that is target sales volume is equal to fixed cost plus target profit by contribution margin per unit. So we can also find out break-even point through change in price. So that is new sales volume is equal to total fixed cost plus total profit by new selling price minus average variable cost. Change in cost. So new quantity or sales volume is equal to contribution to margin by present selling price minus new variable cost per unit. And now coming to decision on choice of technique of production and make or buy decisions. Here coming to this make or buy decisions, we take BEP is equal to fixed cost by purchase cost minus, that is sales cost minus variable cost, and BEP is equal to fixed cost by sales price minus variable cost. And for plant expansion decisions, we can use BEP at present capacity is equal to fixed cost by margin contribution percentage. And next one is like for plant shutdown decisions also we can take this BEP. And for advertising and promoting decisions also we can use this break-even analysis. And decision regarding addition or deletion of the product line also we can use this break-even analysis. So this is all about break-even analysis. Thank you for watching.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.